Hi, my name is Rachel Torres. This is Flow on Yoga, and today we're going to do a practice focusing on our lower chakras. So that first, second, third, the root, sacral, and solar plexus chakra. So we're really going to bring a lot of focus into rooting and grounding down into the earth, to our hips, and to right here, kind of right below our belly button, and doing some twists. So we're going to start out today in a wide-legged position, and as you can see, my legs don't actually go very wide. I have very tight, very internally rotated hips, so if your legs can go wider than this, that is amazing. If they can't, that's great too. So we're going to start right here in this wide-legged position, and really take some time to feel your sits bones, those tailbones just grounding down into the earth, feeling some length in your spine, the crown of your head reaching up as your hips are coming out. Just taking a moment to pause here and to breathe. Maybe closing your eyes. Maybe bringing your hands to heart center. For intention today, I'd like to focus, since we are focusing on those bottom three chakras, it's kind of about our physical needs for safety, for security, for being brave, for having the ability to conquer fear. And so I really want our intention today for our practice to be, I am safe. And again, to deepen those inhales and exhales through your nose. And the crown of your head reaching up as your tailbone is grounding down, rooted onto the earth. And do one more deep inhale. One more deep exhale. And then we're going to take our right leg. We're going to bring the bottom of the right foot right into the inside of the left thigh. And then here we're going to do a little bit of movement with our breath. So on an inhale, we're going to lift up. And then exhale, we're going to bring that left hand down. Inhale up. And then on the exhale, we're going to twist, belly button centered towards the thigh. Exhale, fold. So just like that. And so now we're going to continue that motion with our breath. So inhale up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale up. Exhale, rotate and fold. Inhale up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale up. Exhale, rotate, fold. Making sure as you're doing this, those tailbones, even when we're doing this stretch to the side or the fold, that our tailbone is staying firmly rooted, grounded, safely on the earth. And after you finish your next fold, I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. And on your next inhale, we're going to rise it up. And then we're going to switch, extending that right leg. Bringing your left leg in. And then same thing again with the breath. Inhale, exhale, side stretch. Inhale, exhale, twist and fold. It's just kind of doing a flow here. Getting those hips and that side body, some breath. Feeling that space that we're creating between our ribs and in the lower back. And feeling our hips opening, maybe relaxing, coming a little lower to the ground. Now on your next fold, we're going to pause. Deep exhale. Deep inhale. And then on your next inhale, we're going to rise it up. We're going to bring the legs in, and we're going to start making our way to a tabletop position. So let's set up with this. When our knees directly under our hips, our wrists, elbows directly under our shoulders, really pressing into the tops of your feet and through your fingertips. And then here, you start out just doing some hip circles, maybe starting out small, maybe getting a little bigger. Coming back just like this. And make sure if you're doing these hip circles with us, but next time you come through the back, we pause and we reverse them into the other direction, making sure to keep those knees firmly planted into the ground, trying to keep the weight even in the hands. The tops of the feet are actively pressing into the ground. And those circles can become even bigger if you want, maybe going kind of all the way back into almost a little bit of a child's pose to the back. And then we're going to come back through center, pause, and you can either continue doing those hip circles again like we just did, or we're going to do some one-legged hip circles. So we're going to start with our right leg. We're going to lift it up. Foot is flexed like you're trying to stomp the ceiling or the sky, as it might be since I'm outside. And then we're just going to start doing some hip circles and try to have that motion come just from the hip. Trying to keep the upper body still. That lowered leg, top of the foot is pressing into the ground. Trying to keep that weight equally distributed between your hands in the front. And then we're going to pause, reverse that circle, and remember you might still be doing these circles in tabletop with both knees on the ground. That is okay if our balance is feeling a little off today, or if this doesn't feel good for you with one leg. And then next time we're in the back, we're going to pause, and then with control, lower it down, and we're going to switch to that left leg. Lift, foot flexed, and just start doing those hip circles. Just from the hip, we're going to keep that motion isolated just to your hip. Check in and make sure those breaths are still coming steady and deep. Inhaling fully and exhaling fully through the nose. And then as you come back up, we're going to reverse it and take those circles in the other direction. And those hips, maybe getting a little looser, maybe feeling a little more mobile. Maybe we're getting a little bit of work in our quads too as we're doing this, and our hamstrings, and our booties. And next time you lift up, we're going to pause, slowly lower, sit back into a child's pose just for a moment to give yourself just a little break. Feel those shoulders protracting, coming apart, maybe tucking the chin, and then back up into that tabletop. Really engage through the feet, tuck the toes, pressing down, down, down into our fingertips. Our index fingers are pointing forward, fingers are wide, really pressing into our fingertips, into the heel of our hand, into our knuckles, so that there's almost no pressure at all on our wrists because it's all in our fingers and hands. And then engaging through those toes, lifting the hips, pressing the heels back into a down dog. And then once you get up here, kind of pedal it out a little bit. So straighten one leg as you bend the other knee. Head is ears between the biceps. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bend the left knee as we straighten the left leg and look under, straighten the right leg and then look under the right armpit. And then we're going to do that to the other side. So we're kind of doing this exaggerated pedaling of the feet and adding a little twist if you want. Totally optional. And looking under that armpit. Making sure that we're still breathing here. 2 more. And 2. And find some stillness for just a moment, and then we're going to step, hop, walk, whatever you want to do, your feet to the front, into a forward fold. Pausing here for just a moment. Making sure that we have a steady foundation. We are safely planted our feet into the earth. We feel our weight evenly balanced on all four corners of our feet. And then we're going to root down into our feet. Really press, press, press. Starting from the bottom, we root to rise, one vertebrae at a time. Bring the hands up. And then on an exhale, bring the hands through heart center. And from here, what we're going to do is work on a little balance, but also get some hip mobility. You can feel free to grab a chair or maybe come next to a wall here if your balance is feeling a little off today. If you have a chair, kind of have it right here to your left side first, or the wall to your left side, and using that as a little bit of support. What we're going to do is we're going to pretend like there's like a string right here attached to our knee, and somebody's straight up above us is just pulling it. So our knee comes parallel to the ground, our foot is flexed, just like this. Again, maybe we're holding onto a chair or the wall. Maybe our hands are here at heart center, or maybe right here at the hips. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that leg, we're going to open it out to the side, and then we're going to come down, keeping that foot lifted if you want, but you can always tap down if you need to. So lift to the side, down, and then we're just going to do those hip circles. Now, if you want to add on a little bit to challenge your balance even more, when we go up, out to the side, and then from there we're going to hinge forward into a warrior three for just a moment. Maybe we lose our balance a little bit. That's okay. That's what the ground's there for. That's what our chair or our wall is there. You are safe here. You can safely challenge your balance, practice, and maybe even fall sometimes. That is okay. Next time your knee comes forward, we're going to reverse. So instead of going out to the side first, we're going to go back to the side and forward, or maybe extending the leg back to the side and forward, always tapping down that toe anytime if we need a little help with our balance. To the side and forward. Next time you come forward, as we step it back, we're going to do a full step back into a high lunge just for a moment. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, hands coming to the inside of that left foot. We're going to plant that right hand open through the left to a little twist, a little revolved lunge. Checking in with our breath here as we're twisting to make sure we're still doing those deep breaths. Then on our next exhale, bringing that hand down to the inside of the foot, heel-toeing your foot outside a little bit, and letting the knee fall out towards the left into a little modified lizard here. Just for a moment, and then maybe scooting those hands over even a little closer to the left foot because we're going to make room for our right foot to come forward and land right here into a wide-legged squat. So on your next inhale, we're going to bring that foot forward and then lower down into a squat, just like this. The ground here is a little uneven, so I kind of feel like I'm falling back. You. There we go. That is better. And what you can do here is you can have a pillow or a block or a nice big thick book under your bottom if you're feeling a little unbalanced. If this doesn't feel good for you, you can also keep your hands down here on the ground to keep you balanced. And if this with your feet down really isn't working for you, you can also feel free to come up on your toes just like this, kind of like in a little froggy position. And then what we're going to do from here, if you're here with your feet down, is we're really going to feel the outer edges of the arms pressing into the feet, the knees, as your knees and inner thighs are pressing in towards your hand. Kind of really feeling this activation all through our lower hips, not our lower hips, sorry, our inner thighs. We're going to have a lift through our pelvic floor, have our abs in, belly button to spine, and lift. Tight, tight, tight. Using your hands to support you, we're going to come forward like this onto our toes. And we're going to practice a little balance here. And again, you can always keep those hands down if you need to. Or, and again, zipping everything in really tight towards the midline, lifting that pelvic floor, engaging those abs, belly button to spine and up, pressing those hands together, feeling everything squeezing in. Those feet are active. We're going to balance here on our feet, on our toes. And then on our next exhale, we're going to bring our hands to the ground. Tuck our chin to our chest, our forehead coming towards our knees, feeling a nice stretch all through the back of the neck, that cervical spine, getting a little bit of attention here. And then from here, you can either lower your feet and straighten up into a forward fold, or if you want to do a little bit more yoga for your feet and a little bit more core work and balance work, we can bring those hands back to heart center and with the heels raised, stand it up, plant the heels down. And now we're going to do that same thing we just did on the left side. So what we're going to do, imagine that string is attached to your left knee. Ground down through that right leg. Keep those hips even so we don't want to pop to one side or the other. Now lift that left leg parallel to the ground, to the side, and down. Again, if you're using a wall or a chair for balance, you want that on your right side this time. Always tapping your toes down at any time if you need a little help with your balance. And then also remember you can hinge out into that warrior three as you go back. That is an option that is available if you want to take it. Our warrior three can be here. It doesn't have to be that high leg lift. It can be just a little leg lift, just like this. And the next time you come around to the front, we're going to reverse it. So instead of going out to the side first, we're going to go back to the side and forward. Back to the side and forward. One more time, back to the side and forward. Now this time as we step back, I'm going to step it all the way back. Inhale into a high lunge just here for a second. Exhale, hands come down to the inside of that right foot. We're going to plant the left hand, open through the right, a little low lunge, revolved twist here. And keep that heart open. That breath is steady and deep and flowing. Full inhales and exhales. Now on your next exhale, bring that right hand back down to the inside of your right foot. And let that right knee fall out towards the side. Breathing here. Kind of feeling that right hip going back as this left hip kind of moves forward and sinks down and gives you a nice stretch all through the outside of your right leg and through your hip flexor in your left leg. And then from here, we're going to walk our hands off the left side of our mat, and we're kind of going to do like a modified down dog here. Just like this. So those legs are still engaged, strong, knees over the ankle, but our hands are extended out here, and we let our head go, ears between the biceps. Just like we're doing, top of our body's kind of in a down dog as our legs are in that high lunge. You can, of course, always lower your knee. We're going to walk our hands back around. We're going to take that left leg across our body, kind of like we're doing a pigeon, but we're not going to do a pigeon. Turn to face you, and what we're going to do is we're going to cross our left leg right over the top of our right. We want to try as much as possible to get our knees even, and of course if you don't make it there, that's okay. Mine do not. And this is in our cow face pose, maybe holding on to the tops of your feet like this. Or if you want to get a little work in your upper body too, we take our left arm underneath our right, twist around to the palms to meet, and then we're going to lift the elbows. Feeling those shoulder blades really moving apart, get a nice juicy stretch all through your upper back, between the shoulder blades. Breathing here. And if you have those arms, you can go ahead and let them go. And fold it forward if that feels good, making sure to keep that tailbone grounded down into the earth. The safety of feeling grounded and rooted to our foundation, through the earth, through our root chakra, tailbone. Our sits bones are firmly planted. Okay, and from here we do something a little fun. We're going to go to our left. What we're going to do is we're going to twist it around like this. Whoop. And now, I will be facing the back, but I'll turn around and face you. Now your right leg should be on top of your left. So if you twist it around to the other side of your mat, you should have set up in that cow face the other leg. Just that little twist helps you set your leg up. Of course, I'm going to turn back around so you can see. And again, this side I'm able to sit up a little more even. Not quite there, but a little better. Feeling those tailbones. That tailbone and your sits bones firmly planted into the ground. Hips are evenly pressed into the ground. Now we're going to take our right arm under our left arm, twist into those eagle arms, if that's an option you took last time. If not, you can just hold on to the tops of your feet here. Finding some length in the spine. The crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. Reach, reach, reach. Those elbows up and up. And on your next exhale, gently unwind and fold. You're going to lift it up, and then from here, we did that down dog modification with our right leg forward. So now we're going to do it with our left leg forward. So we're going to set right back up into this low lunge, left leg forward. We're going to walk our hands off the right side of our mat and bow. Those legs are active. That head is just releasing. Ears between biceps. The back of the elbow is sort of rotating forward. And this down dog modification. Breathing here. And as you're ready, we're going to walk it back into that low lunge. And from this low lunge, we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we step that right leg forward in kind of this low squat, sort of like half squat, half chair position. And what we're going to do from here, if you want to play with crow a little bit, bring our feet a little closer together, planting our hands into the ground. I'm going to scoot back so I'm on the mat. Have knees coming towards the armpits, really pressing down through your hands as we begin to hinge forward. Gaze is straight down. Lift the toes into that crow. You can play with that for a few moments if you like, or you can stay right here in that squat, either with the heels lifted or right here. We could even get a little bit of hip work from this low squat by kind of doing some circles. The ground kind of goes down here, so when I sit down in that squat, it wants to pull me over backwards. Or we can just play with that crow, and you can always do, just practice one foot at a time, or maybe both. Totally your choice. And from there, we're going to step it up into a halfway lift from wherever you were. Just make your way up into that halfway lift. Feeling the extension through the spine, the tailbones, kind of reaching back as the crown of the head's reaching forward, finding that length all the way down your spine, from your neck all the way down to your tailbone. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rooting through those feet, root to rise. Exhale, hands through heart center, and dive it right back down. And we're going to do one last thing before we make our way into our final resting pose. So from here, we're going to step our right foot back and our left foot, and then lower the knees. And so option one here is we can be down here from this tabletop. Make sure we're set up in a good tabletop. Wrists directly below our shoulders, knees below our hips. And we can do like some little fire hydrants where we just open up to the side like this. Just like this, trying to keep that movement isolated to just the hip and the leg, keeping the upper body still. Or we can do a very similar movement, but from full plank. So feet up in this full plank. Our wrists are still directly below our elbows. Our heels are pressing back. Our abs are engaged. Feeling lifting through the upper body. So this lift kind of between the shoulder blades is like lifting. Belly button to spine and lift. And then from here, we're kind of do like a plank jack variation, but doing it slowly. Step the right foot out to the side and then back in. Left foot out to the side and then back in. Pausing long enough that you can kind of feel that little stretch through the inner thigh as you do this. Trying to keep everything still as much as possible. Keep that movement isolated just to the hips. Moving with the breath. One more each side. Now wherever you are, if you're in this plank, right now on an exhale, lower knees to the ground. If you're in that tabletop, we're just going to sink the hips back to the feet, either knees together or you can do your knees out wide. Yogi's choice here. We're going to bow down, forehead towards the mat. And then we're going to bring our hands into that Anjali Mudra, our prayer hands. Palms together, and then we're going to lift them right up above our head, kind of like we're doing a little shark fin here. Take some time here if you're just doing those plank jack modification. Your heart rate might have got up a little bit. Take a moment to take some calming breaths. We're going to inhale in and then sigh it out through the mouth. Big inhale and sigh it out. 2 more, big inhale and completely sigh it out. And 1 more, deep inhale and sigh it out. Thank you so much for joining me here today in this practice, focusing on our root chakras, on focusing on being safe and grounded and steady. Hope you're able to feel safe as we move through this practice and find some peace and calm in your yoga practice and moving your body with your breath, calming your mind. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.